Married, but if I was not married, this would be the place to meet some women. Anyway, I write for the Wall Street Journal. Anybody read the Wall Street Journal? Thank you very much. Anybody read the City Pulse, the Lansing City Pulse? Good. We've got a couple of Lansing City Pulsers here, and they did a nice piece about the Magic Room for you Becker's brides out there. Who has read the Magic Room? Just 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Great. I'll tell you about this in a minute, but first I thought I would tell you about my work as a Wall Street Journal columnist and how that led me to write the book The Magic Room and some other books. I write for the Wall Street Journal. I write about life transitions. I write about the moments when life takes a turn. You know, you're born and you have your first breath, you get your first kiss, you get your first job, then you get your first husband, your second husband, third husband. So that's what I write about. So I'm always looking for story ideas. And I was at a red light in Florida last year, and there was a police car that pulled up next to me, and there's a woman driving the police car, and she looked like she was 99 years old, she was driving like this. And I said to my kids in the back seat, I said, I think there's an old lady that stole that police car. And then she took off like about 100 miles an hour, and I thought, what did I just see? And I got back to Detroit where I live, and I called the Delray Beach Police Department, and they said they have 5,000 senior citizen volunteers. They use stun guns, mace, they wrestle people to the ground. They're the greatest generation. So I wrote about that for the Wall Street Journal. Here's people in the final stages of their life, and they'll punch you in the face for jaywalking. I like writing about young people, what they don't know because we don't tell them. So I flew down to Disney World. I stood by the statue of Walt Disney, and I asked 100 kids walking by, who is that man? And only 34 of the 100 kids could tell me who he was. One boy said that he died on Space Mountain of a heart attack. There's a girl that said he lives in one of the hotels with Minnie Mouse. So I wrote about this Wall Street Journal. We've got to tell our kids these things. I like writing about the aging process. I don't know if you noticed, but I've noticed that as we get older, we don't look as well as we looked when we're younger. Anybody notice that? It's one. So I thought, who could I interview about that? So I flew out to California, and I interviewed Robert Redford, the actor. And I said to him, Mr. Redford, you look good. You used to look really good. I said, what's it like to be so handsome and you still look good? So he told me a story. He said when he turned 65, he was driving through New Mexico, and he came to an ice cream parlor. He walked in. There was a woman in front of him in line. She turned around. Oh, my gosh, it's Robert Redford, but she wanted to play it cool. She got her ice cream, and she left. And when he got up to the counter, the guy behind the counter said to him, see that woman who just nodded at you before she left? She put her ice cream cone in her purse. So he knew he still had it. He knew. So anyway, I write about matters of the heart. And I started writing about that because I was an advice columnist at the Chicago Sun-Times. I replaced Dan Landers. I used to get a lot of crazy letters. It was time to write the last lecture. Has anybody read the last lecture here? Yes. The last lecture is really a book of advice. It's Randy Pausch's advice to his children. It's the things he wishes he had 30 years to tell them. He only had a few months because he was dying of pancreatic cancer. That was Randy. So I was a good partner for him writing this book because I'd had all this experience giving advice. And he enjoyed hearing about my life as an advice columnist. He used to get crazy letters. A guy wrote to me once, he said, he's Jewish, he knows I'm Jewish, he's eating a lot of matzah for Passover, he's totally constipated. Do I have any advice for him on how to get through the constipation? So I thought a good product would be fiber matzah, and the slogan could be, let my people go. You're a good audience. I used to get asked to settle bets a lot. One couple wrote to me, their question was, who is more of a man, Greg Brady or Keith Partridge? Is Brady bunch of Partridge family? I thought about it and I said, Alice the maid is more of a man than either of those two. What did you say? For Shelley here in the front row from the City Pulse, I brought one of my favorite letters. Dear Jeff, I'm dating Julie, a smart, beautiful woman. I love her. I'd marry her. However, I'm a breast man and she's flat-chested. How do I suggest that she get implants? Signed, breast man. I said, dear man, Julie deserves someone who loves her for who she is, rather than what she looks like in a sweater. If you can't do that for her, then she won't need implants anyway, but she'll already have a big boob in her life. You. Nice small audience. I'm enjoying it. Last question. Dear Jeff, I dropped out of high school without graduating. Now the 10-year reunion is coming up and I'd like to go. Should I? Dropped out of high school, wants to go to the reunion. Who says go? To go and leave early, right?
Yeah.
That's the end of that. So anyway, my column was a little different. Readers didn't know what to make of me. One woman wrote to my editor, she said she hates me, she hates my advice, and she found my photo in the paper even less appealing. My editor wrote back, we don't like his photo either, but that's what he looks like. So.
But he's funny.
Yeah, and I used to go on the Oprah Winfrey show once in a while. And I was once in the Oprah Winfrey show, and people say anything in that show, I learned. A woman stood up in the audience and she said to me, I was on stage, she said, she had a question for me. She said, I need advice. I'm cheating on my husband. I'm having an affair with his best friend. I'm feeling very guilty. Should I confess? So I said, no, you told the 10 million people watching. Oprah, let's stop at 10 million. Don't tell another soul. Anyway, I did that a lot of years. And then I returned to the Wall Street Journal where I'm still writing about the matters of the heart. When I got back, I wanted to write a column about the words, I love you. And my editor said, go ahead. So the lead of my story was this. There was a judge in Chicago whose 17-year-old daughter, was going out on a Friday night. And before she left, she said to her father, I love you, Dad. And he said, I love you too. And then she died 5 minutes later in a car accident. So his last words to her were, I love you, and her last words to him were the same, I love you. Now, his wife was in the other room. She didn't get to say I love you to her daughter before she died. She didn't get that gift. And so I wrote in the Wall Street Journal, we all should say I love you to the people we care about. We should do it. So I got about 1,000 emails from readers telling me they're going to say they love their children, which is very nice to hear. I have 3 daughters. I write about them. Sometimes they're 22, 20, and 16. My middle daughter, a couple years ago, was invited to go to the homecoming dance at her school. She got a dress, she got her hair done. And then the night before, the boy called my daughter, and he said, me and the other guys, we decided that the homecoming dance is for nerds. And we're just going to have a party at so-and-so's house, and you girls can come. And so my daughter was sad. She wanted to wear the dress and go to the dance. And as a father, I'm no idiot. I know what goes on in basement parties and houses. So I thought, what could I do for my sad daughter? And then it hit me, I could embarrass this boy in front of 5 million readers of the Wall Street Journal. So that's what I did. I wrote a column and said to readers, tell your sons, be honorable, be chivalrous, be men of your word, and tell your daughters, the guy's not treating you right, the heck with him. So I heard from another 1,000 people. So, where are you going, Shelley?
I'm getting you a water.
She's getting a water. We won't wait, we're going on.
For you.
Oh, for me?
For you.
Thank you, Shelley. Sometimes I've written columns that have become books, and books have become other books. Sully, remember Sully who landed in the Hudson River, you remember him? He read the last lecture on a plane. He was actually a passenger, he was not flying when he wrote the last lecture. But when it was time to write his memoir, he asked me if I would do it with him. Thank you, Shelley. Excuse me, don't move. So at first, that helped. At first, I was nervous. How do you write a 300-page book about a 5-minute flight? But as I got to know Sully, I realized all the moments of his life led him to be able to do